Good job, guys.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Lunch Attack.
Hey.
Very special
Lunchtime.
special Wednesday edition.
Wednesday edition.
Happy Wednesday, my dudes. We're gonna start off. I'm just gonna pray before we start eating. I want to say thank you so much, God, for blessing us with this space, with all these awesome people here, the equipment to be able to stream and to still stay connected to all the people in our community. In your Son's name we pray. Amen. I want to start off by asking the chef, the master chef.
Look at this.
Master Chef.
What is on the menu?
Look at that.
Only
today,
half
kids?
chef. Only half. I just helped today. Today we go around the plate, a little bit of lettuce, salad. Oh, yeah. We have a barbecue chicken. So barbecue chicken is the next thing on your plate. With some paprika and spices.
Oh.
And then you have some potatoes, some like roasted potatoes and onion. That also has some salt, pepper, spices on there. So.
That's awesome. So these are Benson's signature.
These are Benson's signature potatoes.
Mm.
Yes,
Benson's
they are.
potatoes. That's right.
Benson is 100% responsible for
Yo, these potatoes are fire.
Yeah. You keep outdoing yourself. It seems like it just gets better.
Bro, it's all about the paprika, bro.
The paprika? Is that the secret?
A little bit paprika.
Benson paprika duong.
Oh yeah.
That's what they call it.
That's what they call
Anytime
it.
I cook, there's paprika.
Paprika on everything?
Yeah.
On everything.
That's
on
awesome. Well,
everything.
thanks so much for cooking for us today.
Yeah.
It just keeps getting better.
Yeah.
Our
Biggest win that Katie is co-hosting.
Yeah, shout out to
Look at
Nadia in chat. Shout out to Hannah Stover
Hey.
Hi, Hannah.
in chat.
Hi, Nadia.
Chai pasta.
Happy day.
If you guys are eating lunch with us, let us know. Let Shuli know in the chat.
Yeah, what you guys are
What
having.
you guys
Let us
are
know what
having.
you're having for lunch.
Yeah, we'd love to hear about it. And we're also going to talk today. We have another topic, and it's going to be traveling. Our dream destinations, places you want to go. Places that you would like to travel anywhere in the world. So let us know in the chat what you think. And we're going to go around and talk about places we've traveled. Maybe we can talk about first places that we have traveled to. I know you've done a lot of traveling. Me, not so much, but I know Shuli and Benson, I think, have. So how about we talk about where we've
I've moved around.
moved around.
I've moved around.
I think we traveled here, so
Yeah.
that counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Traveling or moving, it's like they are two different things. But like, my family did move a ton when I was a kid. So like 6 or 8 times I think before I was even in grade 5. So we moved a lot, a few different cities. But then my first trip that I ever took internationally was actually to South America, to Bolivia, when I was in grade 9.
Wow.
And I went with my mom on a missions trip. And since then I've been to the DR as well, I've been to the States, I've been all across Canada, I studied for a little bit in Europe, so in the UK.
We're in Europe, yeah.
Yeah, at Oxford. So I did a little bit of studying there in my university time. And
Studied at Oxford.
I studied at Oxford, yeah, just a little.
Just a little.
Bougie.
I know.
That's
awesome.
bougie.
It's,
Wow.
they're just normal people like us. And where else? Then a little bit in Europe, Germany, France, and Italy, and Scotland, which was beautiful. So
goodness.
I've been blessed to be able to travel quite a bit for school, for studying, conferences, and even just personally.
Yeah. Experienced traveler right here.
Yeah.
I always get to go first when Benson and I play Ticket to Ride.
That's
To
awesome.
touch on the board games, because the rules say that whoever has traveled, the most experienced traveler goes first. But
Wow.
he's done some traveling too, though.
A
Yeah.
little bit,
Yeah.
These chicken thighs are awesome, by the way. They're
Yeah.
like perfectly cooked.
Nice.
They're
They
great.
really
I haven't
are.
even tried it.
You've done a fair share of traveling, like in Europe too. Like.
Yeah, I
that's
have,
interesting.
absolutely. So there's this guy named Dietrich Bonhoeffer who is like, we talked about him yesterday actually as well regarding board games. He was like this spy, this German spy and pastor and theologian. So my latest trip to Europe was actually to follow in his footsteps. So a lot of the places that were significant to him in Germany, including Flossenburg concentration camp, which is where he actually died, I visited when I was in Germany. And that time on my travels, I actually lost my passport. And all my identification and credit cards, bank cards, everything. They were stolen from me in a subway in Paris. And so I've had my fair share of travel adventures as well, and embassies, etc. Obviously I made it back home okay, but that was a pretty harrowing experience.
Wow, what a story.
Yeah, that's a story to tell right there.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's interesting.
How about you guys?
Oh, by the way, Hannah said she had her wallet stolen as well in Dublin.
Oh my gosh, isn't that terrifying?
Which we'll see, but Hannah has some pretty crazy stories, I believe, about
Yes,
traveling
yeah.
recently.
Wow.
Do you
We'll see
have
if she
like
wants to share, yeah.
Wow.
a favorite place you've been to, or like most
Yeah,
memorable?
yeah. What's
What
the
would be-
most favorite
yeah.
place
Yeah.
you've ever done?
I think-
Even.
So because I got to study, like I said, at Oxford, and I lived in this little village called Chalbury, and got to know the people, and it really became a very special place for me. And I visited there on my most recent trip back to Europe as well.
cool.
And got to see Sue, who was the woman that I stayed with, and reconnected with some of the people in the community. So I think because I like routine, like I love adventure obviously and travel too, but that was the place where I wasn't just visiting as a tourist, like I actually got to kind of live there for a time. And so I think that place, like internationally, is probably the other place besides Canada that has like a really special place in my heart.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What about you, Benson? Where have you been?
Yeah, I haven't been to as many places. We did go, when we were younger, we did go on a mission trip to this little town in New Brunswick called Bathurst. Jesse's been there, Julie's been there.
I was there.
You were there.
Yeah, I
You were
was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was there I had the chance to go for 5 years in a row, like 2 weeks at a time, to this little town. And part of the beauty of sort of traveling to a place, I find like is also like the adventure of getting there. So we have all these memories of like, so we would drive and we'd stop in like Quebec City,
Oh man.
which is beautiful, and like the old cities, like they tell me that's what Europe's kind of like, and it's gorgeous. And
Yeah.
it's like on the water, and there's this little church that we stay at there. And there, actually, there's this little store. It's not that little, but it's this bakery called Paylard.
Uh-huh.
You should check it out if you're in Quebec City. It's kind of got a red logo on the main street. And I used to go down early in the morning to get these croissant sandwiches, these beautiful like croissant breakfast sandwiches with like egg
Yeah.
and bacon, and it's just perfect. Like fresh croissants. Get that with like a coffee.
It's so good.
And the crazy story is that on one of our travels on the way back from Bathurst, I actually went there in the evening with Shuli, where we got some gelato.
Is this a gelato
This is
girl?
gelato. So Shuli actually met this,
We.
yeah. Well, we met this. Shuli met this girl, and there was just like sparks between them, and it was so crazy.
Oh no.
And so she'll forever be known as Gelato Girl.
Yeah. This is like a true story. Like
This is a true story.
Benson
We're not
was there.
exaggerating.
All right. We like locked
I
eyes.
felt the
No,
We
was
locked
like-
eyes over the gelato scoop.
Yep. And there was like a hurricane in the room.
And you said, "Can I have mint
Yeah.
chocolate, please?"
No, he was like, "What's your?" She's
Yeah.
like,
What's your favorite? What's your
Her own French accent,
Yeah.
and he's like,
Yeah.
"I don't know. What's your favorite? What do you like?" And she gets like all shy.
Yeah.
And,
So
you know.
yeah.
and-
So if I ask what would you recommend?
Yeah.
It's a hint.
Long lost love. Shout out to the
man.
gelato girl
Yeah.
wherever you
If you're
are.
watching,
Yeah, Gelato Girl's
you
watching.
should identify yourself
Yeah.
now in the
Gelato
comments.
girl, if you're there, you know. If you
Yeah.
ever stumble upon this like YouTube video, yeah.
Yeah, so we went to this little town Bathurst where we got to like do some work, right? 2 weeks at a time for a long commitment. And what's really cool that Katie kind of mentioned in her story of traveling was there's like the place, right? Like I remember Bathurst very clearly. There's like a town square. There's a place in the East Coast called Greco where you can get donaires that I love to eat. But it's also the people, right? The people are actually also, I feel like, a big part of traveling. Just of meeting people and people being associated to a place, excuse me. Yeah, it's cool to like go back and visit them and see them grow. And we actually had to work with some kids there, like with a day camp. So to actually see them, like in my first year, they're like little kids. And then my last year when we left, they're like much bigger kids.
Yeah.
The other like major trip I've done, I would say is to Japan. I actually had a chance to do a 2-week exchange to Japan.
That's
so
so cool.
we went
That
from
is
like
really cool.
we landed in we went from like Osaka to Kyoto to Tokyo, which are like Japanese cities, and actually spent a week living with like a host family. It was really weird. I was telling them yesterday that in Japan, there's school 6 days a week, and school is from like 9 a.m. to like 6 p.m. because once you're done classes, you all like do clubs, so it's completely different. But once again, like I remember the people. I still remember like the host family, and it was so really meaningful. So it was really cool to see Japan, and like all the cherry blossom trees that if you're in Toronto and you know High Park, like they were all in full bloom in Japan during the time I was there. So it was really cool to like get to go there when I was younger. I think I was about 14.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't you told this story once about how like the sponsor family like asked you for what your favorite food is?
Oh yeah. Okay. So before you go, they try and connect you via email, right? So they connect. Like one of the questions they asked me via email was what was my favorite food.
This is such.
And
a
I didn't
story.
realize till much later, but I said my favorite food was pizza and sushi, which is like you would never eat them together, which is really random. But I love pizza and sushi, right? I still do. So I show up and it's the first night. I'm in their home, and they've there's dinner. We're having dinner, and it's pizza and sushi together. Like there's like a pizza beside a bunch of sushi.
Yeah.
And it was such a weird experience eating like a slice of pizza
Yeah.
and then eating like
But
a
that's so
couple
cute.
like California rolls or whatever.
That's
right?
great.
And then I only realized later, like when I
Yeah.
came back, I was like, oh, they wanted to welcome me and they wanted to
Yeah.
Give you your
sort of make
favorite
sure I was
food.
You want to feed you your favorite food.
Yeah.
That's hospitality right there.
Exactly.
That is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Great stories, man. What about you, Shuli? Where have you been?
I've been to actually I went to Vancouver.
Nice.
Yeah, and that actually has been like amazing. I went there for the Victoria Spoken Word Festival. So I did some shows there and did like a workshop. But I basically made it. It was like the Victoria Spoken Word thing was a week, and I basically took advantage of that and stayed in like Vancouver for another 3 weeks. So I was there for like a month. Yeah, it was so beautiful. First of all, very beautiful. I remember going like the SkyTrain, what they call it, I believe. Yeah, and you look one side and there's like these beautiful mountains, and then you look the other side and it's like the ocean. And it's just
Wow.
like, what?
It's stunning.
What is this?
Oh,
And
wow.
the best part about it is like the people are so chill. Like no one's in a rush, right? Everyone, usually in Toronto, especially in a busy city, right? Everyone's kind of just go. I gotta be busy. I gotta do something, or else like I'm not being productive, right? There you didn't feel that way. You felt like there was enough time to do what you need to do, and there's also enough time to kind of take care of yourself and just hang out. So that I wasn't really working a lot. I was like in vacation mode there, right? Aside from like that festival, but still it was such a cool experience. I was actually staying over at my aunt's place, and she's a dentist. She has a bit of money, basically, and like her house is like on a mountain. Like it was
Wow.
so I know it was like a crazy like expensive house. So I was like living in luxury. I was like, oh man, like
winning.
but it was so nice. It was so beautiful too.
Those rich aunts.
Yeah, like it's just it was great. It was awesome. Ate lots of good food. It was, I recommend going to Vancouver if you can. So I support that.
Yes. That's awesome.
Jesse.
Yeah, for me, like for a long time I hadn't actually left like North America. I went to Florida when I was a kid, and I really enjoy the warm weather. So I think tropical places are kind of a destination. The first time I left North America, I went to Dominican. But I think so far, so I've never been to Europe. I've never been across. But and I think my favorite thing personally for me is traveling in Canada. And with that being said, I've never actually been west of Ontario. I've been east because my dad is from Quebec and my mom is from Newfoundland. So I've gone to Newfoundland a ton of times. I've been to Quebec a bunch of times. There's two stories that I would like to share. Is the first one is actually related to what Benson was saying. It was on the missions trip, because I went to that missions trip 3 or 4 times, and there was one. So because that drive is like 20 hours or something, right? From here to Bathurst, New Brunswick, and we'd all drive 2 or 3 vans full of people. So you get tired, you get drained. So what we would do is we'd stop in Quebec City,
Yes.
to sleep for 1 or 2 nights. And in Quebec City, it was old Quebec. It was old Quebec City, and it just looked like
This is Gelato Grill Part
this is
2.
where Gelato
Yeah.
Girl where Gelato Girl resides. And it was just amazing. It looked like old school France, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, when we were there, it just so happened that same weekend, Celine Dion
She was.
was in Quebec City
Wow.
performing a concert at, I want to say, it might have been the Plains of Abraham or something.
Mhm.
It was something like that. Like it was an
It was
outdoor
outdoors,
thing.
yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, I don't know if you know Celine Dion, but she has a very powerful voice. Obviously, you know Celine Dion. She has a very powerful, loud
Personally.
voice. So
Yeah.
we had to sleep. The guys were sleeping upstairs in
Oh my gosh.
like in a church, in a sort of, right?
Can we just take a moment? Like this room that we slept in
Oh,
is about the
them, Pete.
size of like where the main stream is, like where Katie and Jesse are sitting.
Yeah.
It's like that, but imagine it's like 40 degrees Celsius before like 8 guys are even in the room.
Mm.
There's one little fan,
Oh no.
and it's like this little kid's room, like where they do like.
It was
Kids
almost like a
ministry.
nursery.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, it was so hot. in
That room, yeah, basically it was a
It's
sauna.
a room
There,
of
Yeah.
fire.
there was no
Yeah.
no ventilation, no air conditioning.
Yeah.
So what do? You leave the window open. So I remember falling asleep in that room, and I heard Celine Dion herself
Woo!
singing "My Heart Will
My Heart
Go
Will
On." My
Go
Heart Will Go On.
Oh,
I fell asleep to Celine Dion singing. One of the best moments of my life.
That's so funny.
I think it got so bad that I think there was one night where me and this other guy we call Big, who's this like giant dude named Josh.
Yeah.
He's great.
It was so hot. Him and I actually slept in the vans.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember
We
that.
actually slept in the vans.
Yeah.
We're just gonna
Yeah.
sleep in the vans.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I
was.
can fall asleep anywhere, so yeah. I like.
But Celine Dion, my heart will go on, dude.
Oh, dude. If you think listening to it with earphones gives you chills, man, that was an experience.
Hearing it live in a hot like sauna,
Yeah, just
you
trying
know,
to
with
fall
the window
asleep.
like kind of open.
Yeah, because her voice filled up the whole city.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you could hear her throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
My second story is I drove to Thunder Bay with a few friends, and that's like maybe an 18-hour drive. Thunder Bay is kind of northwestern Ontario, and it was like perfectly like obscure enough and like far enough and just kind of middle of nowhere enough. But on the way up there, it was the end of August, so it was when the stars are at their peak.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't know this wasn't planned, but there was also a meteor shower going on throughout the period of our first night. And I'm never prepared for anything. So we show up, we pitch the tent, and we realize we don't have the top of the tent. Like it's completely open. So if it was raining, we would have been soaked.
Yeah, yeah.
But that means we were staring up right at the sky.
Yeah.
And man, it was like 7 shooting stars a minute, just
Wow.
all night. It
Yeah.
was crazy. Just
I
fell asleep looking at the sky.
I love how Justin's like, yeah, I'm never prepared, you know, just set up this tent and a meteor shower's going on.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just normal things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it would have been like a thunderstorm, we wouldn't have seen any of that.
Yeah,
and
we
we would
would've
have
been
been
just as
soaked.
epic.
Yeah.
Apparently, you know, being unprepared is the new prepared. Like
Yeah.
being prepared.
Yeah, it would have been, but it was yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
There we go.
So we wanted to talk about today is our dream travel destinations
Mhm.
that we've never been, that we'd like to go to. So we'd like to hear from you in the chat. If you could let us know, maybe some places you have been or haven't been. For myself, I would like to go to beach. I've never been west of Ontario. I would like to see every province in Canada. Actually, that was a goal. I want to see every province and every territory.
Oh,
So I want to go to Yukon,
That is cool.
Nunavut, Northwest Territories.
Yeah.
I want to see like Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. I'd love to go to BC. I really would love to go to California. I'd like to drive there.
How come?
I just feel like that's just where I'm meant to be. Like
California.
Jesse just goes there and never
That's
comes
where
back.
Never comes back.
Never comes back.
I might not.
Here we go. Yeah.
I'm meant to be in the warmth in the summer,
Yeah.
skateboarding around. Yeah, I'd love to go back to Florida. I'd love to go to California. I think South America as well, because I've heard a lot about the pace there and how life is very different. It's a lot more chill, and being used to the big city, I like small towns. I would like to go to Ireland to kind of see some of like my heritage, and England as well. And I would really like to go to do some backpacking in Asia. That would be across China, you know, across Asia. I would love to do that. And another place that I would really like to visit is Vietnam.
Yeah.
Vietnam. I just feel, I don't know. I just feel like I have had a lot of Vietnamese friends, and they've told me lots of great things.
Are you gonna ever try eating snakes?
If I was there, I probably
5 different
would.
ways? 10?
I don't know about the heart.
You're not gonna do the heart?
I'm not gonna do the heart. I don't think I could, man.
Yeah.
I don't think I could. But yeah, I'd love to go there. Australia. Yeah, I had a friend. I worked with a guy from New Zealand. And he said like that place would be perfect for you. Like your personality, like you should go to New Zealand.
Yeah.
Australia as well.
That's awesome.
Well, that's most of the world.
Pretty much everywhere other than Canada.
Save a few places for the rest of us.
Yeah,
exactly.
Those would be.
There goes all of my
ideas.
Stream's over.
Sorry, everybody. Have a good night.
This
Have
is
a good day.
Good night. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Anyone?
We're done.
Anyone want Africa? Do you want to go there too?
Yes, I would.
Africa?
I would like to go to
Yeah,
Africa.
let's just start listing like.
I'd like to go to Egypt.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to go to like the Middle East, like India.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Go figure.
So yeah, like I said, I've done most of my traveling within Canada, so there's lots of places I haven't.
How about the Philippines, bro?
I would like to go to the Philippines.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Naturally.
Naturally.
Yep, that
Definitely.
there too.
I forgot about the Philippines. Yeah, I would definitely. I have a lot of friends from the Philippines. I actually kind of had sort of plans to visit there with some friends one time.
Wow.
But,
Of course.
Right. But yeah, Philippines would be up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry for taking the rest of the world from you guys before
Okay.
you.
Anywhere you would not travel if you had the chance. I feel like I'd take a free trip pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
North Korea?
Free trip?
That's
But
true.
maybe not. I don't feel like that's safe. Yeah.
There you go. Get some free trip to
Siberia.
North Korea.
I'd be very skeptical of that
I would pass up on that. Anywhere else though?
I actually might take it. I feel like it might be an adventure. Yeah.
It's a risky one.
Yeah, it's a very risky one.
What if you had to do poetry in front of like Kim Jong Un? Can you imagine if you got flown in, free trip to North Korea, and they're like,
You
for
must
whatever
perform.
reason, Kim Jong Un wants you to do your poetry.
Jeez.
I wouldn't do anything in front of
Oh man.
He wants to hear the butcher.
The butcher. Oh, let's go.
Yeah. Shout out to Chad Pasta, by the way, who's saying that he would love to go to Peru, Chile, and Australia.
Nice.
With places that he would like to. Shout out to Nadia for saying she wants to go to Price Chopper.
Price Chopper?
I think.
That's a good one. I've been meaning
The
to
throwback.
plan to visit there to Price Chopper. Zellers.
Oh,
I'd like to go to Zellers as well.
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster.
We need to build a time machine.
What about you guys? What are some places that you'd like to go
I have 2 places in mind.
Okay.
One of them Jesse did talk about a little.
to?
I'll elaborate. New Zealand, like, just looks gorgeous.
Everyone's list.
Well, yeah, like
So.
where they actually built the Hobbiton, right, for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And had to let like all the grass grow for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Anyways, just I think to see some of the set of Lord of the Rings and some of the places where that was filmed, and there's like cool animals and wildlife and stuff there, obviously, like beautiful. And then the second one is my family. My grandmother on my dad's side actually came to Canada from Czechoslovakia. I think the little town is called Košice or something like that. Anyways, so I know it's like Czech Republic, I think is like where that town is now. And I would really love to go visit there. I remember hearing stories from her about like their dirt floor houses and the geese that would be running around all the time, like in their streets and into the house. And we called her Baba because that's Czech for grandmother. And yeah, she would always visit around Easter. So this is always kind of a time of year that I'm thinking about her and how it would be really interesting to go back and sort of see where where she grew up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my family's from Vietnam, so I think like naturally I love to go to Vietnam. I actually have some relatives still there, so it'd be really cool to sort of connect with them and see like where my parents grew up.
So have you never been to Vietnam?
I've been to Vietnam. I went to Vietnam when I was like 2 years old,
Okay.
and there's this story that there's this story that my parents love to share about me when I was in Vietnam. When I was two years old. So basically, as a little 2-year-old, apparently I was like this very quiet kid. But I also was really good with like not complaining or not saying like it's not like really difficult, right? So my mom said that she describes a story where she gave me to somebody else, like hold on to while she was doing something, and while she gave me to someone else to hold on to, they like were kind of playing around with me. They were like, oh, showing me off to these other people, and they then in turn gave me to somebody else,
Oh no.
and somebody else, and somebody else, and somebody else. And after, like my mom turns back, and 15 minutes later, she comes back and she's like, "Where's Benson? Like, where's my kid?"
Oh no.
Yeah, and she had to track me out because I wouldn't complain. I was just happy to like be held, and I would just go with anybody.
Yeah.
So I actually got lost. Like as people like switched in, and my mom had to like kind of find out where I was, and eventually she tracked me down.
Oh my
It
goodness.
was pretty hilarious, yeah.
Wow.
But apart from that, like I love Vietnamese food. I think Vietnamese culture is really cool.
How do we
it's
know if
pretty
you're the
hot.
real Benson?
Sorry?
How do we know if you're the real
Yeah,
Benson?
maybe there's some other kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were brought back from
Benson
Vietnam.
now.
Yeah.
Your parents
Can
brought
you
back
imagine?
They
eight.
just smuggled me in.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we lost Benson.
Yeah.
You kind of look like him. All right,
We brought back a 2-year-old
Yeah.
from
We're
Vietnam.
gonna miss our flight. We're gonna miss our flight.
Let's go.
Oh,
Kevin!
yeah.
Benson is somewhere in Vietnam right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Wishing you could go to Toronto.
Yeah, wishing
It's
I
like
could go
switched
Canada.
at birth.
Yeah. I think Iceland is another place I think would be kind of cool to visit. Like the Scandinavian sort of countries are kind of neat, culture and it's kind of the rocks and yeah, I do think I would love to go to there's a set of islands like off of Fiji. So there's like Australia, there's New Zealand, there's a little island called Fiji, and then there's like a set of islands even further off. And as I was looking at like locations, things like that, it just looks beautiful. It's like basically this it looks like they just made this like hut city, but the huts are like floating on the water.
That's awesome.
So it looks crazy.
I
It's just
love-
like this
yeah.
community of like huts. That looks really cool. It's pretty
I want to
expensive.
go there now.
Yeah, but it's pretty
sounds
cool.
Great.
Yeah, and I love fishing. So like
Yeah.
anything by the ocean, like I would love to like go
Yeah.
on like a big fishing trip.
Yeah.
Deep sea fishing with like big rods and catching big fish
Yeah.
and things like that. Like I think that would be really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Sure.
I didn't even. Yeah. I want to look at pictures now. I'll look at pictures after. I gotta check that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me this was hard because I'm like I don't think about traveling. As a person I was like, oh, where should I go? So it's kind of like looking at things and stuff like that. But I think I would travel where Gelato Girl is. we gotta go look.
Find gelato.
We gotta go find
That's
Gelato
great.
Girl.
That's a great place to
Yeah.
travel.
No, I do want to visit Machu Picchu. Yeah, I know. I was like looking at pictures. I'm like, this is a place I want to go to.
Where is that?
Yeah, it's in Peru.
Peru.
Yeah. So no, it's I was looking at it. It's cool. It's definitely like the type of things that like I love kind of like looking at and like being in there. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. So and I think for me too is ever since kind of going here, I haven't been back to the Philippines, right? And I remember like before we actually left, we did a bunch of cool things in the Philippines. Like it was scary when I was a kid, but like it was also really cool because we went swimming with whale sharks. Yeah, now it like it was great. They were like it was cool because I remember being like on a boat, right? And like when you look in the water, you just see like this big shadow like 10 times bigger than the boat, right? And then you just go and dive in.
That's crazy.
I know it's crazy. And then you swim there and like you're able to touch them too. Of course you're with like guides and stuff, and they kind of like swim with you and stuff. But that was like a really cool experience. But rice fields, right? And people like basically they carved it out of like like just hands, people's hands and stuff like that. It's beautiful, and so it's so cool. Yeah. I've always wanted to go to. I have it in New Zealand because of the people. I feel like people in New Zealand are just like I just want to hang out with like
Yeah.
If you're from New Zealand, be my friend. We'll be friends, right?
Just don't play Scrabble with them.
No,
And you won't ruin the friendship.
Yeah, exactly. Don't play Scrabble with me. Let's keep this friendship.
Yeah.
Right? And I want to go to New Zealand. But another cool thing is like sometimes I watch movies and like I'm like, oh, this place kind of looks cool, so I want to go there, right? And I watched this horror movie called Let the Right One In, and like, they have beautiful shots of Sweden, and I was like, I kind of want to go to Sweden now. And so like I don't know why, but I've always had this like desire to go to Sweden after that movie. Yeah, so I'm like, I want to go to Sweden. Yeah, I think movies kind of like push me towards like certain ones sometimes. Yeah.
Cool. Shout out to Hannah Stover, who says she's been all over Canada, Spain, France, Scotland, Ireland, England, Greece, Italy, Poland, Germany, Mexico, Italy, Oregon, and the northern states. She wants to go back to Edinburgh, Scotland. The most dream trip. A backpack in South America.
Wow.
Dang, what a list.
I guess I'm not playing Ticket to Ride with you.
Hannah's going first.
You're going first if we play Ticket to Ride,
Exactly.
I guess. I'll just surrender that position.
Yeah, she might have more experience.
Yeah.
So, kind of on this idea of traveling, who are some people that you would want to travel with?
Oh, yeah.
If you're taking a trip with who would be some people that you think would like you want to travel? And then does that change like where you want to go, right? Like so, for example, for me, like my heritage being Vietnamese, my dad and my mom being from there, I think it would be really cool to do a trip with my parents back to Vietnam, and then they can like show me really like where they grew up, or this is a street where they did this, right? Because my mom, like both my parents, their families had businesses there, right? And to even go back and see like this is kind of where you came from, and then we moved to Canada, like to be able to take me on that journey would be like really unique and cool, I think. But that would be like an example of like it'd be a unique experience to be able to travel with someone or something.
Yeah, for sure.
That would be really special. Seeing the places that means a lot to them.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
It has value, like sentimental like memories. That would be really. Well, first, like I like to not really have a plan. Like I don't need to have everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Hammered out. So I like to just kind of when I travel, I just like to go. What do you want to do? Like let's just go explore here.
Let's go.
I don't want to know anything about it. I want to figure it out while I'm there. So anybody that kind of has that kind of same mentality, I'm not really like a strict schedule kind of person. Like this day, this time we need to be doing this, and then this and this. I like to just kind of. Anytime I've traveled, it's like let's walk over here, let's go over here. And I think also I've done this before, but kind of like what Benson was saying, like with my mom in Newfoundland, because she grew up in almost like a pioneer, like in the middle in a town of like 300 people. And like didn't have electricity, stuff like that. So when you go back with I think someone who grew up there and in such a different era and such a different time. It really brings you back. And also, she kind of has that same mentality as me. Let's just do whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's just travel.
That's awesome.
It's interesting because the other thing about my Germany trip, where like my passport and everything was stolen, is that I was actually traveling alone. So there's like something to also being alone on an event. Like I obviously that also made it even more terrifying, but having to figure that stuff out alone, in a sense, and being alone on your kind of adventure, kind of unique and neat. Like I've never done that before.
Would you recommend it?
Yeah, actually, absolutely. I think so.
I would hate
Like,
that.
Give us some
I would
pros.
hate that.
Like, give us
Yeah.
some pros
I wouldn't be
and
able to
cons.
travel
Like, in
alone.
terms
Yeah,
of-
totally. I guess a con, like an immediate con, is that you're experiencing all these cool things, and you're the only one. Like you can call somebody and tell them, or like write back and say so, but like you don't really have someone to talk to about like this museum or this place. But on the other hand, I think that like because I had to face so many difficult situations on my travels, like I just really learned a lot more about myself. figure out train schedules in another country. And in a similar way, like nobody else was there, a pro, like nobody else was there saying, well, I want to do this today. You don't have to share your schedule with anybody else. I could just be like, well, what do I want to do? I can go do what I want to. And there was a lot more time for reflection, I think, and taking it. So in some ways, you're also not distracted by other people, but it's true. It's harder than I think. Like I've brought back pictures and made a photo book, but yeah, it's different because you're not actually sharing those.
Do you find the being by yourself is exciting?
Yeah.
Kind of nervous,
totally.
but exciting.
Totally, absolutely. Yeah. There was never a time when I felt like I was actually in danger because obviously I did things reasonably, but there was that sort of element of excitement and adventure. Yeah, especially.
I can't do it. No. I love. I think for me, part of things that I enjoy is sharing moments with people. Yeah, and it's not about me being excited about something. It's sharing that excitement with someone.
Yeah.
Right. More so than whatever that thing we're excited for. Yeah. At least for me as a person. So I'm thinking about it. I'm like, it sounds it sounds like an adventure, but also I'm doesn't sound appealing to me.
Yeah, and I went into rural Germany, right? Like the like Fredericksbrunn and Flossenburg and places where people really basically didn't. And the one day I spent 8 hours on trains, different trains, just making the next train, not being able to understand any or anything that was going on, right? Because it was all in German. So yeah, it was just but it's something I can kind of look back on and be like, wow, I did that. I can't.
That's awesome.
And all the while not having any identification or anything either. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that part. But I think I think you do learn a lot about yourself traveling alone, and you meet some I met interesting people along the way.
Yeah. I think Hannah in chat says she agrees traveling like that allows you to meet the coolest people. Have no schedule.
Yeah.
And I think one of the cool things I'm sort of hearing, because I've never done this traveling alone. So, and I wonder is whether or not, because when you're traveling alone, unless you're camping in the woods for a month, you're alone, but you're not in solitude, right?
True.
Yeah.
You're not there's people around you, right? There's beautiful cities, there's places you can visit. I wonder if traveling alone actually opens you up to meeting more people.
Yeah.
Actually. Whether it be because you need help because you're in a different culture or a different place, or because you're just more approachable than a group of 4 people, right?
True.
So I think that's really interesting and cool.
Yeah.
I think I think it does kind of open you up, and depending on where you are, in the big city, sometimes a little cold. People don't really talk to you. But if you're in a smaller town, people will probably come right up to you, spark up a conversation, or when you go to them. Hey, how do you get to this place? They'll come up and be like, hey, and talk. Where are you from? And I think it does kind of, or maybe people trying to help. Trying to help.
Definitely.
That'd be terrifying for me.
Who are some other people you'd want to travel with?
Think. That's cute.
My fiance.
Yeah.
Hopefully we go on our honeymoon.
Hopefully we get to go on our honeymoon to Mexico.
Yeah.
That's the place I want to go and the person I want to go with.
Yeah. I would choose Benson too.
Yeah.
Well, you're not all coming to Mexico.
Mexico.
No.
You know what? You're Justin, choose Benson, and I'll choose Jesse.
Yeah.
We're all going.
When are we gonna go?
Yeah, exactly. When are we going?
No, I think road trips are cool, right? I think kind of Shirley was saying, the idea of bonding with people.
Yeah.
I went on this road trip with a couple guys to Halifax actually. We drove across. We stopped in Quebec. We drove to Halifax and Halifax was great and there was cool things we did there. But once again, kind of the journey of that and the people who were there make it such an interesting experience, right? One of the craziest things we did was the 3 of us played in a D&D campaign where I was the dungeon master, and they were playing. And one of the guys was driving, the other guy was in shotgun. And I was in the back seat. And actually, as we were driving, it was yo, we should just try and play right now in the car. So we just played D&D on the freeway.
Wow.
The guy driving obviously did rolling dice.
Yeah.
The guy the passenger rolled dice, so it's really hilarious when he's not doing well.
Yeah.
But it was moments like that are I think a road trip down the West Coast
True.
would be really cool, like by the ocean, right? Like Cali, like the idea of like the sunshine states, right? Like I think taking like a car or an
And go on
SUV
the
or
road
something
trip.
and just like driving down,
Yeah.
stopping. I know one time like Katie's family is in Newfoundland, so we went back in the summer for a week, and like we even did this little like 1 day like 4 hour sort of road trip
Yeah.
up the coast.
Yeah.
And it was really fun to stop in like random little towns.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right? To see like random sites, like what the locals were doing was really cool. So yeah, I'd say probably with you guys, like if the four of us, we go road trip like down the West Coast, that'd probably be pretty sweet.
Yeah,
Cool.
road trip. Yeah, because the Thunder Bay trip I did was a road trip.
2021.
And
Hopefully.
and it brings you a lot
West
closer
Coast road trip.
because you need to figure out things together. You need to work as a team. It's an excellent bond when you're
You're in a
stuck.
small space
You're
together.
stuck. Yeah. So I went to Thunder Bay with two other guys in a Toyota Tercel. I don't know if you know what a Toyota Tercel is, but it's the size of this table. Or smaller, and no air conditioning.
Oh, no.
We're in the middle, and like a broken radio. So it was like you really had to work together and enjoy each other's like company, and yeah, you get to
Sounds fun.
it's a lot of fun. Yeah, you get
Sounds
to
like something.
grow with people. And, yeah.
Sweat with people.
Yeah.
And it was camping too, so you have to like set up the site together, and everybody has like different roles, and someone's
Yeah.
gonna cook, someone's gonna like do this.
Someone's supposed to bring the top of the tent.
Yeah, someone brings the top of the tent.
Yeah.
I don't know who. Someone's supposed to be prepared.
Yeah.
What? Okay, so what is like your quintessential road trip snack or beverage?
Oh, beef jerky.
Yeah.
Hands down, Jack Link's jalapeno beef jerky.
Really?
It's a little
I've never
spicy.
had that.
It's a little spicy,
So specific.
but it's so
Yeah.
high protein and it fills you up so much. Like you just, it just keeps you going. And energy drink.
Energy drinks?
Yes. Or coffee.
You guys remember Slow Cow?
Yes.
Slow Cow.
Slow
I do
Cow.
remember
The
Slow Cow.
anti-energy drink.
Yeah.
That was me and you, man. We had
Yeah.
So what do you mean by anti-energy drink?
Oh, so like we were traveling back from Bathurst, and everyone's getting coffees and energy drinks,
Yeah.
and me and Shirley looking at this thing, like look at this, man. What is this? It's called Slow Cow, and we had never heard of it. I don't even think they have it in Ontario. We were in Quebec or something,
No.
and essentially, it's a drink that makes you tired.
Oh no.
It was an I don't know what was in it, but
Oh,
it was, they sold it in the
Drowsy.
gas station. So we like everyone else was like getting like,
Yeah, but-
pumped
yeah.
up, and then like within 20 minutes, me and Shirley were like we couldn't even move, just in the back of the car. Like this was such a terrible idea.
I mean, but it sounded like a good idea.
Yeah. It was like maybe
Yeah.
we'll sleep, but we weren't even
I
sleeping.
know.
We were just
Exactly.
still awake but too tired to do
Yeah,
anything.
I think we do like it's great when we do things like that though. Like it sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
And then like 2 seconds later, why did we do this?
Yeah. That's what's fun when you go with
Yeah.
the right crowd. You do stuff
Exactly.
like that. Like, should we go? I want to go check out this random thing. You know what I mean? Like, or that looks cool. Let's go walk over there. And it's like it might be a great idea, it might not be a good idea. But like you find out kind of together, and it creates like a story, right? Just
Yeah.
like Slow Cow. Which, by the way, if you ever come across Slow Cow, don't buy it.
No,
Don't
don't.
buy it.
It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ursaringer in chat saying, what's up? We're talking today, we're having lunch, we're talking today about places we want to visit, where we travel, things like who we want to go with. So thanks for hanging out today, Ursaringer, in the chat. Yeah. Speaking of... Oh, he's saying hi. Speaking of like other places, like Shuli, you mentioned like Machu Picchu. What are some like wonders or like sort of like specific things you would like to see, even if you don't particularly go to that country or whatever?
The Northern Lights.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Northern Lights. Yeah.
It's part of my list.
100% Northern Lights. That would be mine.
I used to want to climb Mount Everest
Wow.
until I realized that you really do a lot of work to be able to climb Mount Everest.
So just a mountain now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
just any
sure.
mountain,
Any mountain.
climb a mountain.
Yeah,
Any mountain.
totally. My friend Kara and I hiked the Chief last summer when we were in BC, and that was proof enough that I will never climb Mount Everest. But
Pyramids.
but it that seems like something really cool. I don't know how much of it you can see from the ground,
inside a pyramid. Like
Inside the pyramid?
Yeah, inside a pyramid.
Oh,
see
okay.
see if we can do some Tomb Raider kind of like adventure. You know? Be like,
Yeah.
there's a trap.
That's a trap. Yeah, you either die or you have a great story to tell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would say the pyramids is pretty cool. I really want to see the Sistine Chapel.
Oh, that's
You know,
beautiful.
I think the Sistine Chapel is like
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be amazing. Yeah. Speaking of mountains, I actually had a chance to be at the base of Mount Fuji when I was in
Nice.
Japan.
Now, where do you get the Fuji water?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's Fiji water, but
definitely. Fuji water.
Sounds legit.
That's
Sounds
the
legit.
bougie.
Yeah.
the Fuji water.
water.
That Nestle is not
Yeah.
that Nestle is not. You need that iceberg water.
Totally.
Yeah. Some other wonders are like.
I had before my family moved to Newfoundland,
Yeah.
seeing icebergs was like big
Yeah.
on my list.
Yeah.
And even I think the Northwest Passage,
Mm.
just the adventure stories that came out from like earlier time periods, right, when
Yeah.
people were sort of searching for the pole. And anyways, I like being able to go to the Northwest Passage.
I think for me, I like to see wild animals. Like that's why I like to travel in Ontario a lot. Because
Yeah.
I've seen like moose, I've seen some bear, like black bear. I've seen lots of other like otters and all kinds of stuff that you would not see in the city. But I would love to see a live wild polar bear in person, but without getting
Totally.
eaten by the polar bear.
Yeah, for sure.
But somehow be, I don't know how
Yeah.
far enough
You know,
away.
you gotta be prepared for that, right?
Well, then maybe I can't. Maybe it's not a good idea. But I know there's places in northern Ontario where you could like drive or walk or hike.
Wow.
Yo,
Yeah.
so this could be the reason you go to Manitoba, because there's actually this town called Churchill, Manitoba, that's supposed to be like the polar bear capital of the world.
Wow.
And in the town, allegedly, it's actually illegal to lock your car door
Oh.
in case someone needs to like jump into it,
Because of a
because the
polar
polar bear
bear.
is walking through town.
Wow.
Yeah, so maybe that's how you'll go to Manitoba, bro. It's just
Yeah.
a polar bear.
You should road trip to the West Coast
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
Manitoba.
Yeah. Alright, here's the question. What would you guys do if you guys see a polar bear in the streets of Toronto?
Oh man.
You know something's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just,
You know
you're just like
something's wrong.
walking, let's say we're all going to like Dolly's or something.
Yeah.
And then like on our way to Dolly's, there's just like a polar bear right there.
I
Are
think
we
I would
driving or are we walking?
Yeah.
Walking.
I think
Walking.
I would
Walking.
freeze.
Yeah.
I would just freeze. Like I wouldn't.
You're just
Yeah, do
Run
they
away,
like
'cause
live food?
I'm like I am imagining this.
Yeah.
There's no way this is real. I probably wouldn't even freak out because
Oh
it's like there's
my
no
God.
way.
Yeah.
You'd like to think that I wouldn't grab one of you and put you in front of me, but
Yeah.
I would probably run. I think I'm faster than.
Do you know that
I think I'm
polar
the
bears?
fastest here, actually.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love polar bears. So, do you know that polar bears are apparently the only other mammal, like other than humans, that like hunt for sport,
Yeah, for fun.
like for fun,
Yeah.
that's comforting.
like
Not even
not
to
to eat you,
Yeah.
just for fun. They're just like
Yeah.
bored, and they'll just hunt you.
Yeah. What do I want to do today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
There's just 2 polar bears here. Hey, there's 4 people there. I think they're going to Dolly's.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Just do something fun.
I think. Have you seen whales when you were in Newfoundland? You ever
Yes.
seen whales?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
is-
incredible.
We're gonna
That's
see whales.
absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
That like makes me cry every time. It's
Yeah.
just so beautiful.
It is.
Yeah, every time when when you can go to the coast and see the whales, it's insane.
I would love to like see a shark somewhere in the world but I would never want to be in the position where you could see a shark.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah,
But
for
I
sure.
would love to. I just.
And go to the aquarium.
Yeah, the aquarium has.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you been
There
to
we
the
go.
aquarium?
I have, yeah, but I want to see wild one.
Oh,
Like
wow.
a wild one.
I want to see one, but I don't want to see one.
Yeah.
You can touch the shark.
I can make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can
really.
make that happen.
Yeah, like places in the world where I like the idea of like being able to swim with the animals, like the whale
Yeah.
sharks,
Mm.
and like be in close contact with wild animals. I think is always really
Yeah.
cool. Like anywhere in the world where you can do that, which there are lots of places like swimming with dolphins and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I feel like a coral reef would be really sweet.
Yeah, we've done that in the Philippines.
Oh,
It's
by the way,
great.
apparently, like we should all just like go on a trip to New Zealand. Apparently,
Yes,
exactly.
By the way.
Yes.
But yeah, like coral reefs and stuff, I think would be really cool. Shout out to Ursula really quick who says, I've been to Washington D.C. I can't think of a lot of places I want to visit. And he says that pandas annoy him.
Pandas?
Pandas.
Yeah, pandas, man.
Alright.
Yeah.
Stringer is anti-panda.
I think they chew with their mouths open. That
I
might be
think
it.
so, yeah.
Bad manners.
Yeah. Do you like, when's the last time you visited the zoo? Because Toronto has a zoo, like, down the street. Well, not down the street, but
I
like,
think it's a year, maybe
Yeah,
a
two
year. and a half.
years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago. I love the zoo.
Because that'd be a place I'm pretty excited to visit. I know it's not, like, really far, but, like, in the summer. I think, like, as a kid, it was a little boring, actually. I think it was school, but as I've gotten older, for whatever reason, it's just more, like, it's more exciting. Like, I think, like, one of the coolest things I like to see at the zoo is, like, the rhinos or the hippos.
The hippos
Like,
are great.
it's crazy
How
how
big they are.
big they are.
Yeah.
It's actually,
It
like,
really is.
insane,
They're
right?
tanks.
Just, giant. And you
It
can see
feels so
polar
tiny.
bears, right? You
Yeah.
can see polar bears at the zoo, things like that. So it's pretty crazy.
I enjoyed going to the zoo. I used to be pretty into like animals and stuff, and I went when they had a giraffe was born,
Yeah.
and this giraffe just came
Neat.
outside, and it might have been the first
Really?
time it ever saw people because it wasn't like
Oh my
timid,
Yeah.
goodness.
and I was looking this giraffe in the eye. It was my height.
That's what?
Yeah, it was a
There's
baby.
no more answer.
Baby
It was
giraffe.
I was born like 6 feet tall, and probably a little taller,
Yeah.
but it was like we were looking at it, and it was just staring at me like it wasn't afraid.
That's
it was,
so funny.
It was really cool.
Yeah. Alright, here's a question. What if we all go to the zoo, alright? And we're just hanging out at the zoo, right? And then you see the two same polar bears outside of an exhibit.
Just hanging out.
Yeah, just be like, hey, there's
I
two
know a
guys
good
here.
spot.
There's four people here. They're at the zoo. You ready for this?
It's a good spot where people hang
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just hunting.
I think I would try and run into the grizzly den. Like I try to like jump the wall to get into the grizzly cage, and hope like the grizzly and the polar bears just fight.
Like
Yeah.
talk about
Oh.
going
And run away.
out of the frying pan into the fire. I think I'd run towards the other bear.
Yeah.
that might maul me.
Well, because if you run to like if you run to like the gazelles are just gonna run away.
And
right?
you're
You
alone
want,
there.
You want to run to something that's gonna like stand its ground a little
Yeah.
bit, you know.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the things like Benson said when you don't realize how big animals are
Yeah.
and how
Yeah.
powerful they look
Yeah.
until you're in front of them.
Very.
Exactly.
Like polar
Very
bears are
much so.
like 9-10 feet tall. Like it's insane. Like
Yeah.
a full grown like on
Yeah.
its hind legs.
Definitely.
It's massive. They have polar bears there. I went there once when they had the baby polar bears.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me
like
too.
Juno. Yeah,
Yeah.
Juno was tiny.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think too is like some of them are just like pure muscle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's not even like that's not fat. It's like
No, no.
muscle,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like it's like that like
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like with its head is like this big.
Yeah.
It's insane. You just wouldn't ever want to see two of them walking down the street for whatever reason. Like
Yeah.
when you're just minding your own business.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Oh my gosh.
it's not.
Ursula says, I tell the polar bears, eating me won't solve your problems. Keep me alive, and you can have more fish than you can possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Yes,
They-
but they're hunting for
they
sport.
wouldn't even want to eat
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, they're hunting for sport.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, these two polar bears are hunting for sport.
They're just bored. They've been
Yeah.
in social isolation for way too
Yeah, the
long.
polar bears are so
Yeah.
flexible.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Would make it even better if these two polar bears had like a New Zealand accent.
They're Kiwi polar bears?
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh man.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Any other places, people in the chat
Oh.
that you dream places you would like to go to, or places
Or
you would
local,
like to
right
see?
around the
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah.
What's the first place you want to go to when we can
Like in Toronto.
travel freely
Oh
again?
man.
The
I think
Bluffs, the
yeah,
Scarborough
the
Bluffs.
Scarborough Bluffs.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Which, yeah.
I just want to
so good.
skateboard.
You saw a skateboard?
Yeah.
Would you go to skate? Do you like going to like skate parks and stuff, Sheila?
Not really, no.
No, you don't like the
No,
bowls
I
and the
like
ramps.
just
and...
I like just like cruising.
Do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
so do you do you take bike lanes if you can?
Not really, no.
Okay, because
Yeah.
there's a really big difference if it's on the sidewalk or the road.
Sidewalk's a bit rough, bumpier,
Yeah.
That makes
but
sense.
in Scarborough there really are no bike
No,
lanes,
there are no
so-
bike lanes.
Well,
Right.
there sort of are like certain places in Toronto there aren't.
Kind of. But you kind of just go on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We take side streets a lot,
Take side
you know.
streets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would really want to go to the aquarium. Yeah, I think like the aquarium. I'm excited to go back.
Yeah, I've been there a few times. It's
And
really fun.
it's big. Like
Yeah.
I didn't expect how big it was because like when you look from the outside, it doesn't look that big, but then it's all like underground.
Yeah.
But it's actually like a massive place. Like it takes quite a while to get through it. And Katie and I were there for her birthday once, and there's this like octopus who's like so
cool.
sneaky, and
Yo,
it just like
so
runs
cool.
around and like hides and stuff, and you're trying to find it.
Yeah.
And you can like pet sharks.
Stingray.
And, stingrays.
Yeah,
and
they're
things
so
like that.
epic.
Yeah. I think I'd
Octopus
wanna
are
go.
actually like really smart and like
Apparently.
devious.
They're all brain.
Yeah. They can escape like quickly too. They're smart.
Well, they can fit into tiny spaces, like smaller than you would think.
Crazy.
Yeah. I think I'm just excited to be able to like go back to coffee shops and hang out and I don't know, catch live music and just like normal stuff.
Meet people. Hang out with people.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think anywhere. I've never seen like an actual like mountain.
Oh yeah.
Like I would love to be at the base of a mountain. I've never. Maybe the Rockies or like travel around like the West Coast. Yeah. And, like isolated places. Like that's one of the places I would like to really see.
I think it's interesting as well with this whole situation with like self-isolation and people are kind of staying distant or at home and like it's hard to go places. Like I feel like it's gonna give like the world this new sense of like appreciation, right?
So. Yeah.
For like going out and traveling and visiting places and with people, right? And I think that's a really cool thing.
For sure, yeah. I bet people that do travel a lot are really like getting cabin fever
Yeah.
right now of
You
not
like going
really
outside?
because you can't really travel really
No.
anywhere. Like you can't like fly. You can't, you know what I mean? Go to
Yeah,
different
you
places
can't.
in
You
the world.
definitely can't fly to Europe.
Right?
No, you can't.
Yeah. Well, and people who've had to cancel trips.
I know a lot of people have been canceling their trips. That's unfortunate.
There's a lot of sadness there for sure, disappointment.
I agree.
So everybody out there that really wants to travel, they just have to wait a little while because they'll be able to again.
We
Make
will,
a list.
well.
Make a list.
Make
Yeah.
a list.
Hopefully you guys can go to Mexico. Hopefully we can go to Mexico.
Exactly. Yeah.
Two separate
I can't
trips.
wait.
Two separate trips.
I can't wait for all of us to be in Mexico.
Two
you know?
separate trips.
Yeah, two separate trips, but at the same time. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
But yeah, thank you so much everybody for joining us for our special Wednesday edition of Lunch
It's
Attack.
Wednesday.
So tomorrow we hope you join us again for our Thursday edition. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about your favorite books to movies.
Yeah, books to movies.
Books to movies. So we want your ideas. Bring out your ideas. Movies, maybe ones that have happened that you love and like that you would like to see as well. So we're going to be back here tomorrow at 12. We ask that you please drop a like on the stream and subscribe to our channel if you haven't. And thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow at
See you
noon.
tomorrow.
Yeah.